and she had been working as a PGT English for the last 10 years. And she has conducted more than 100 training sessions for CBSE in almost all the regions of, CBSE board. So I would like to explain some basic rules for this training. The most important among them is the first is the microphone in WebEx platform is automatically disabled for all the participants to get a proper internet bandwidth and for the smooth conduct of the online session. So therefore, the participants are requested to communicate through the chat box only. And the assessment link will be shared in the chat box 10 minutes before the end of the session. So every participants or the educators are advised not to ask for attendance link in between the session. One thing more I would like to, tell all of you that please don't annotate in the chat box. Otherwise, until you are not allowed to do so. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to request you just to start the session.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I hope I am audible and visible as well.
Ma'am, you are audible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the lovely introduction. So, sabhi ko mera sadar pranam. This is Lisa Das, and today the session is on focusing on competency-based education. So, friends, in this session today, we will be discussing about the concept of competency-based education and its learning outcomes. Also, the takeaways of this session would be what is competency-based education or CBE? What are the needs and advantages of CBE? CBE versus traditional classrooms. What is the role of the teacher when it comes to CBE? And finally, the assessment structure, the assessment procedure in CBE. Now, before directly going to the topic, let us first discuss about the current education system. And I'm sure as teachers, as experienced teachers, as educationists, you must also have felt that our education system has got so many flaws. There are so many lacunas, loopholes in the education system. The first is like in the current education system, when the child enters the school, he is expected to learn all the course contents in a stipulated period of time, right? For example, the weekly tests, the half-yearly tests, the annual exams are all held at fixed times. And as parents and as teachers, we also expect that वो बच्चा जो स्कूल आ रहा है एक समय तक 3 महीने तक 6 महीने तक 8 महीने तक उसका हो जाना चाहिए. He should have learned all the things. How it is possible? When there is diversity in learning and there are diverse learners, how is it possible that all the learners, all the students will get the same knowledge and they'll be benefited from the knowledge in those 3 months or 6 months target? It is not possible. The second lacuna, I would say that the contents that the child reads, the child studies, everything is textual, isn't it? Everything is text based. Most of the contents that the child studies is text based. Text के अलावा उसके पास कुछ knowledge नहीं है. And when I say text based, it is theoretical. उस थ्योरी को प्रैक्टिकल में कैसे कन्वर्ट करना है, उस नॉलेज को प्रैक्टिकल फील्ड में कैसे लाना है, उसे पता ही नहीं है. And this is really a blunder, because when he learns everything theoretically, what is the necessity and what is the benefit of that theoretical knowledge when it is not converted to the practical arena? The third lacuna, I'm saying it is about us. That is, we teachers. We are experienced teachers, undoubtedly, and we have served the institution for so long, right? But we have to cover the syllabus as per the time, isn't it? As per the lesson plan, as per the stipulated time, we have to cover the syllabus. The point is, बच्चा सीखे या ना सीखे, शायद वो कमजोर है किसी सब्जेक्ट में, किसी टॉपिक में, लेकिन हमें इससे क्या, हमें तो अपना सिलेबस कवर करना है, because we are answerable. We are answerable. Everybody is answerable. We are answerable to our superior. Our superior is also answerable to someone. We are answerable to the parents also. लेकिन सिलेबस कवर होना चाहिए. भाई वो सीखे या ना सीखे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, हमने पढ़ाया तो है, right? And the last lacuna or demerit, I would say that the instructional method is one for the entire class. Now, how is it possible that when we are talking about the diverse learners, how can the instructional method be one for the entire class for the 40 students? It cannot be. Still, we are adopting that one instructional process. जैसे हम पढ़ाते थे, वैसे ही पढ़ाते हैं और वैसे ही पढ़ाते रहें. For all the sake, for all the set of students. So here, these are the lacunas or loopholes in the education system, and we are all well aware about it. It's not that we don't know, we are well aware about it. So what can we do? As teachers, we have to understand that yes, there are differential needs, there are diverse learners, and as teachers, we have to meet the learning needs of those learners. Because now we know that everything is learner centric, right? Now the approach is learner centric. The classroom is learner centric. The course is learner centric, because now the learner is at the center and everything revolves around the learner. So our target is to see that the learner is actively engaged classroom. Like हमारे जमाने में क्या होता था? It was teacher centric classrooms, right? The teacher used to decide कि आज क्या पढ़ाना है. The teacher will decide what is beneficial for the students. But now it is not like that. Everything we have to learn, we have to understand. We teachers have to do the homework कि हमको कल क्या पढ़ाना है, किस तरह से पढ़ाना है. We are doing it even because it is all learner centric. So CBE believes in the learner, believes in the skills and competencies of the learner. And now when we are talking about competency based education, CBE is an approach to teaching, learning, and assessments that demonstrate the proficiency of the learners to inculcate the skills and competencies. Now, just give me a minute. Let me share the screen with you. So I hope the screen is visible, friends. Yeah. Is the screen visible? You can tell me in the chat box only. I can see that. Is the screen visible? Okay. Thank you, Ashok sir. Thank you. Thank you. So, as we were talking about competency based education ki wo kya hai, first let us understand what is a competency. Competency matlab shamta, right? Eligibility, shamata. So what is a competency? So as you can see, competency can be defined as an individual's capability of performing a task successfully in professional, educational, and other life contexts by using knowledge, skills, abilities. So competency is how you perform a task, the way you perform a task, be it educational, or be it in the personal life, or be it in the professional life, or at the workplace, the way that you are executing a task successfully, that defines our competency. And how can an individual be competent? Any individual. There are three pillars of competency: knowledge, skills, abilities. Okay. Knowledge means having the knowledge over the subject, over the topic. That is knowledge. Like somebody's competency, when we say, that is the knowledge part. How much depth the individual has over that subject, over that topic, the command over the subject. That is knowledge. Next is skills. Skills. Skill is a way to do something well. Okay. Skill is a way to do something well. The person, how he is skillful, how he is able to do it, how he is doing or executing the task, that is the skill. Next is abilities. Abilities in the sense, the capability, the ability. Capability is whether the person or in the individual is able to do or not. Whether the individual is capable of doing the tasks or not. That is ability. Something more in details, as you see. Knowledge is the conceptual and theoretical understanding. As I said, the command over the subject matter, over the topic. That is the knowledge. Skill. Skill is a measurable and observable proficiency that is learned through training and experience. So बार बार rapidly when we practice, जब हम practice करते हैं किसी चीज को लगातार एक रफ्तार में जब हम practice करते हैं तो skill आ ही जाता है. The way we perform, because it is an observable trait, observable characteristic. हम किसी को देख देख कर भी सीख सकते हैं. That is the skill. Ability is the vast underlying capacity, hidden capacity, I should say, or talent that is essential to learn and apply knowledge and skills. So ability is something which is hidden. जब तक आप करते नहीं हो, तब तक आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा that you are able to do it or not, right? We have to do it to understand that we have the capability or not. So these are the three pillars of competencies in which an individual, any individual, be it a teacher, be it a student or anybody, is judged. So knowledge and skills are visible traits. Somebody can test your knowledge. Somebody can see you work and can know your skill, the way of working, your working style. So knowledge and skill are visible. कि कोई आपको देख के या फिर टेस्ट करके समझ सकता है कि how much knowledge and skill you have. But ability, कोई आपको देख के नहीं बता सकता what ability you possess. Because ability is a hidden trait, invisible trait. जब तक आप खुद नहीं करते हो, आपको आपकी एबिलिटी पता तक नहीं चलेगी, what you are capable of doing it. Now, moving further, CBE or competency based education is also known as, skill based learning. These are all the names. Skill based learning. Now, what is skill based learning? We all have attended sessions on 21st century skills, right? And if you have gone through 21st century skills, friends, you must have found some similarity between 21st century skills and life skills. What are the skills that you have figured out? Can I have some answers in the chat box? What are the similarities in skills in 21st century skills and life skills? कौन से skills common है दोनों में? Experimental learning. Yes, Niharika ma'am. Correct. Experimental learning. Creativity, right? Creative thinking, critical thinking, communication, right? Yes, experimental learning, sure. Correct. creative thinking, critical thinking, collaboration, yes, consistency, yes, Mamta ma'am, right? So all these skills, when we are talking about, see, be it life skills or be it your 21st century skills, certain skills are common, like communication is a skill and it has to be understood, right? Communication, creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, ये सारे skills important है. Yes, art integrated learning, experiential learning, project based learning. This is also a skill because there you learn the skills like creativity, logical reasoning, critical thinking. Yes, ये सबसे हम यही सीखते हैं. So CBE is also known as skill based learning and the skills include these only. Communication, creativity, critical thinking, logical reasoning, collaboration, मतलब teamwork, everything. Next comes to proficiency based learning. CBE is also known as proficiency based learning. Proficiency means efficiency, right? Somebody's efficiency. Now, how can we know and judge somebody's efficiency? See, proficiency depends and varies from person to person. For example, suppose एक बंदा जो 80% लाया है, in your eyes, according to you, that individual, that student is proficient. But according to me, someone who has got 60% is more proficient. I believe that, right? So proficiency depends. It varies. Like किसी के घर में 70% भी proficient माना जाता है, तो किसी के घर में 90 plus 90% ही लाना पड़ेगा बच्चे को. So proficiency varies, you know. Proficiency is the efficiency. So what matters is not grade, not percentage. What matters here is the efficiency of the individual, that he is able to do it or not. बंदा कर पा रहा है या नहीं, that matters. 60%, 70%, 80%, 90% is not, it doesn't matter. Because कोई 90% को talented बोल सकता है, कोई 70% भी talented हो सकता है, but he got 70%. So proficiency varies. Proficiency depends upon the execution of the task. Next, coming to mastery based learning. It is also known as mastery based learning. Mastery over the subject, conceptual understanding. When we say mastery based learning, that means the individual. I'm talking about the learner here. He must have the mastery, the command over the subject, over the topic. Next comes outcome based learning. Now, CBE is an outcome based approach. What is that outcome based approach? That means here the learner understands what he will get in the end. उसे पहुंचना कहाँ है? He understands that. Generally in the traditional pattern of education, जैसे कि हम लोग बड़े हुए हैं, हमें पता ही नहीं कब हमारा 6th standard 7th standard हो गया, 7th standard 8th standard हो गया, फिर हमने बोर्ड्स दे दिए, फिर हमने कॉलेज कर लिया, हमको पता ही नहीं कब क्या हुआ, right? But in the outcome based learning, what happens? The learner understands where he has to reach. For example, if the learner is in 6th standard, for example, he understands that by the end of this 6th standard, I am learning all these things, not only which is there in the syllabus, उसके अलावा मैंने क्या क्या सीखा. So the outcome is more important here, and the teacher helps the student in getting or reaching those outcomes. कि उसे सीखना क्या है और उसको जानना कैसे है वहां तक. The teacher is helpful here. Next comes performance based learning. Of course, performance means the learner has to perform. The learner has to execute. The learner has to display or demonstrate his competency. Then only it can be said as performance based learning. Without his doing anything, we cannot judge his competencies. He has to do. Like in the traditional pattern, kya hota hai? We see that some of the individuals, some of the students, they go for the backbenches और वो अपना ही काम करते हैं. उन्हें कोई मतलब नहीं कि टीचर आ रहे हैं, क्या पढ़ा रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं, उन्हें कोई मतलब नहीं है. Okay. So in performance based learning, all the learners are performing. They are engaged and they have to perform. They have to execute. And that is why it is performance-based learning. And next is CBE is also known as standards-based education. That is, CBE sets standards for the learners. It sets standards for the learners. Standards in the sense teaching pattern, learning pattern, evaluation procedure, assessments. इन सबका एक पैटर्न है, एक स्टैंडर्ड है. So CBE sets standards in the teaching processes, in the learning processes, in the assessment and evaluation pattern. So these are the names for CBE. Now, something more, as you see, competency based education का definition लिखा हुआ है इधर, but I will say that competency cannot be defined. मेरे नजर से competency define नहीं की जा सकती, right? Is my voice audible to everyone? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, thank you, sir. So जिसको भी audible नहीं हो रहा है, I request please log out and log in. Yeah, I can see the messages. So please log out and log in. अगर आवाज में कोई दिक्कत आ रही है, तो please log out करिएगा. Yeah, thank you. So, as we were talking about competency based education का definition जो आप देख रहे हैं स्क्रीन पे, मैंने लिखा हुआ है जानबूझ के definition, but I believe that competency cannot be defined. You know, competency cannot be defined. क्षमता को कैसे define करें हम? क्षमता के बारे में हम कुछ statements बता सकते हैं. There can be some statements, there can be some opinion about competency. It cannot be defined, you know. So competency based education is an outcome focused approach, जैसे कि हम decide कर रहे थे, अभी बात कर रहे थे, that concentrates on the mastery of skills at the learner's pace rather than within a specific period of time. This is important. That first of all, competency based education is an outcome focused approach. कि बच्चे को पता होता है, student को पता होता है कि वो कहाँ पहुंचने वाला है, उसको सीखना क्या क्या है, और अंत तक, मतलब सपोज वो 7th स्टैंडर्ड में है और अंत तक वो क्या सीखेगा, कहाँ तक सीखेगा, उसे पता होता है. So it demonstrates the mastery of skills, that he has the conceptual knowledge, and the interesting thing is that he learns the content at his own pace, his own speed. कोई जोर जबरदस्ती नहीं कि आप यही सीखो एंड इसको एग्जाम में दो एंड यू हैव टू गेट द मार्क्स. जोर जबरदस्ती नहीं, अपने टाइम से वो सीखेगा, अपना टाइम लेते हुए सीखेगा. And that's the thing, because different, their learning needs and styles are different. And when learning styles are different, like some learners fast, right? आपने उनको एक बार कुछ बोला एंड झट से उन्होंने पकड़ लिया और वो कभी भूलेंगे भी नहीं. While some learners, they are a bit slow in the sense they need practice के बाद हो जाएगा, so they need some time. And CBE believes in giving that time, that flexibility to the learners. Now, as you can see, large skill sets are broken down into competencies which may have sequential level of mastery. Now, for example, I would give you जैसे कि हमने एक ग्रुप डिस्कशन कराया, राइट? फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक ग्रुप डिस्कशन कराया, 5-6 बंदे जो हैं क्लास के, दे आर इन्वॉल्व, दे आर एंगेज्ड इन ग्रुप डिस्कशन. नाउ कैन यू टेल मी, ग्रुप डिस्कशन इज एन एक्टिविटी, ठीक है, वो एक्टिविटी हो गया, लेकिन जब वो एक्टिविटी हो रहा है, एज अ जज, एज अ टीचर, एज एन एजुकेशनिस्ट, कैन यू फाइंड आउट व्हाट आर द स्किल्स from the students? What skills can be observed from the students? Suppose एक 5-6 लोग ग्रुप डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं, 5-6 स्टूडेंट्स कर रहे हैं, वहां से हम कौन कौन से स्किल उन बच्चों का हम पकड़ सकते हैं? What are those skills? Can I have the answers in the chat box? कौन से स्किल पता लगने हैं बच्चों के, वो डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. सपोज एक टॉपिक दे दिया आपने रैंडम सा कोई, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग, ओके, oratorship, yes, Yashmin ma'am. Thinking skills, actually, right? Open-minded thinking skills, correct, right, Niharika ma'am? Confidence, exactly. C. Communication, yes, Deepak sir, correct. Emotional skills, very good, right? Exactly. You see, so many skills. एक एक्टिविटी ही दिया है हमने, फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक ग्रुप डिस्कशन दे दिया, एंड यू सी हाउ मेनी स्किल्स इन द फॉर्म ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंसी इज ऑब्जर्व्ड. Creative thinking, critical thinking, debating skills, I mean oratory skills, confidence. Yes, Savita ma'am, confidence हो गया. Like if the child is introvert or shy kind of, or he is able to do it, right? Thinking skill, that means creative thinking, how he is thinking fast and all. Yes, Pratibha ma'am, leadership also. Is he able to? Yes, Satya sir, presentation, presence of mind. Yes, Yashmin ma'am, correct. See, तो एक एक्टिविटी दे दिया और उससे हमें बच्चों का कितने सारे स्किल्स पता लगता है, कितने ही सारे स्किल्स पता लगता है. इसलिए आप कोई भी एक्टिविटी दे दो, मैंने बस ये एग्जांपल दिया है ग्रुप डिस्कशन का, आप एक रोल प्ले दे दीजिए, कोई गेम दे दीजिए. So many skills we can get from the child. So here what it means that these skill sets are broken down into competencies which may have sequential level of mastery. Like if the child is good at communication, we need to see that when the child is good at communication or the child is good at critical thinking, जब हम कोई एक्टिविटी देंगे तभी ना हमको पता चलेगा कि what skills he has. उसके लिए तो देना ही पड़ेगा, because confidence cannot be taught. Confidence as a skill cannot be taught कि चलिए बैठिए and now I'll teach you about confidence. ऐसा नहीं होता है. We have to give them some work, some task. That is important. So competencies reinforce one another from basic to advanced as learning progresses. The impact of increasing competencies is synergistic, that is the interaction of body and mind, and the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So कहने का तात्पर्य ये है that when we want that the child should be skilled enough, then we have to completely depend upon the activities, experiential learning जो हम बात कर रहे थे. We have to depend upon the tasks, we have to depend upon the activities, upon the gamification. Like हमारे टाइम में क्या होता था, we have heard, all of us maybe, हमारे पेरेंट्स हमको ये बोलते थे कि ज्यादा खेलो मत, खेलने कूदने से बर्बाद हो जाओगे, राइट? या ज्यादा खेलने कूदने से बर्बाद हो ही जाते, बट खेलने कूदने से कितना कुछ सीखता है. Suppose when the child plays, he is involved in gamification, he is playing, what he learns, what are the skills can be observed? Sportsmanship, yes, yes, Yashmin sir, sportsmanship and team spirit, right? There are many skills. जो जब वो खेलता है वो टाइम तो वेस्ट नहीं कर रहा होता है. यस, लीडरशिप, टीम स्पिरिट, यू नो, टीम वर्क, कोलैबोरेशन, कैसे ग्रुप में खेलना है. अकेले अकेले तो हम सब कर सकते हैं सारे काम, बट ग्रुप में करना तो दिक्कत है ना. ग्रुप वर्क इज डिफिकल्ट. बीइंग कोलैबोरेटिव, यस, वर्किंग इन अ टीम, हैविंग पेशेंस, that is also important, because when you're working in a team you have to have patience. Yes, management, that is important. Leadership, that is important. To work in the team spirit, cooperation, these are important skills. So gamification, when we say, there are so many skills that come into mind and we can judge a child. We can judge. अपने घर में भी अगर 3-4 बच्चे हैं and they are playing, we can test them. We can test them कि is he displaying creativity? Has he, you know, is he patientful while doing some work? Or he is throwing away the things because he is impatient after a certain period of time. We can test that. So these skills can be judged when some certain task activities are given. Now, moving further, as you see, the competencies within different contexts may require different bundles of skills, knowledge and attitude. ये three pillars जो हैं, skill, knowledge, attitude, तीनों ही तीनों जरूरी है. In essence, in a nutshell, if I say, CBE is a process and not a product. Means CBE is not for that how many marks and scores or grades you got ultimately. The journey is all about the process, and the process could be messy, right? The process is never beautiful. The outcome is beautiful. The product is beautiful. And our mindset is that we always appreciate the product, the final product, right? But those who consider that the final product or the outcome is beautiful, we are not seeing the messy sides. That means the hardships, the struggle of that particular individual. So CBE believes in the journey, that is the process, and journey will be messy. Journey किसी का साफ नहीं होता. The outcome is clear. The outcome is productive. So basically, it is all about the process. कि बच्चा process में क्या सीख रहा है. That is important. Ultimately successful हो रहा है या नहीं, that is not important. उस process में वो कौन-कौन से skills सीख रहा है, develop कर रहा है. Only theoretical knowledge या फिर only practical knowledge या फिर creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, ये जो process है, ये ज्यादा जरूरी है. Now, these are some characteristics of CBE. As you see, CBE or competencies are carefully selected, right? We have to select the competency of the child. Select in the sense, sometimes what we are doing, if the child is good at communication, right? What we are doing, we are neglecting that child. कि अच्छा, ये child तो ठीक है communication में. जो नहीं है उसको पकड़ो. सही बात है. जो नहीं है उसको पकड़ो और उसको शार्प करते हैं इन कम्युनिकेशन फॉर एग्जाम्पल. लेकिन जिसका हो गया, don't you think that that individual also needs, the grooming? It is clear. जिसका नहीं हुआ है या उसको तो चाहिए ही, पर जिसका हो गया है, somebody who is very prominent in communication or creative thinking, हम उसको क्या करते हैं, उसको neglect कर लेते हैं. अरे भाई तेरा तो हो गया, छोड़ो, तुम जाओ. But don't you think that person also requires the proper grooming? That is required. So competencies need to be carefully selected by the teacher and the grooming has to be done. ऐसा नहीं कि जो backward है सिर्फ उसी को देखेंगे और जिसका हो जा रहा है उसको छोड़ देंगे. ऐसा नहीं करना है. Next is supporting theory is integrated with skills practice. Essential knowledge is learned to support the performance of skills that we have discussed. कि only theoretical knowledge से कुछ नहीं होने वाला. The knowledge has to be transformed and transferred into execution. Is he able to execute practically or not? That is important. Next is participants' knowledge and skills are assessed as they enter the program. So in CPE, what happens? It is not like half-yearly tests, weekly tests, it is not like that. The knowledge and skills of the participants, of the students, those are assessed, evaluated from time to time, continuous evaluation. साल भर ही इज इवेल्युएटेड और बच्चे को पता तक नहीं हो रहा है क्योंकि वो तो मजे ले रहा है ना खेल के. Nobody knows, but he is evaluated. तो इस तरह से क्या होता है, थिंग्स बिकम इजी कि बच्चे को पता भी नहीं चल रहा है कि उसने एग्जाम दे दिया है, उसका इवेल्युएशन हो रहा है, उसका ऑब्जर्वेशन हो रहा है. The knowledge and skills are observed. So that is easy for the child and for the teacher as well. Next, learning should be self-paced. In CBE, what happens? Learning should be self-paced. That is, the individual is free. The learner is free to learn at his own pace, at his own speed. That if he wants to take the particular chapter, for example, सबका 10 दिन में हो रहा है और उससे ज्यादा टाइम चाहिए. Anyway, he is free to learn at his own pace. He can take 15 days time. He can take 18 days time. There should be flexibility in learning. Next is flexible training approaches, including large group of methods, small group activities, and individual study are essential components. Now, here I would like to cite one example that you must have heard about cooperative learning and peer tutoring. These are the two aspects. Cooperative learning and peer tutoring. इससे क्या होता है? Cooperative learning. That is, you give them a task and you judge the skills. As we discussed. Like you give them group discussion, you give them a role play or some gamification and you get the skills to know. And in peer tutoring, what happens is, as the name itself suggests, peer. That means two people are there, right? तो उसमें क्या होता है? Suppose A and B, both are students. And suppose A, the child A, he is reciting a poem. Child B, what he can do is he can understand and he can pick out the difficult words as he is reciting. The child B can pick out the difficult words and simultaneously he can check from the dictionary. This is peer activity. So there are group activities, there are peer activity. The point of telling this is that individual study is important, group study is also important. Both both has its own role, own set of benefits, and that we have to give it to the students. We have to give the liberty of cooperative learning and peer tutoring. दोनों ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि कई बार बहुत सारी बातें हमको सुन सुन के याद हो जाता है. Everything we are not learning in our day to day life, right? Same goes with the children also, कि कई बार बहुत सारी बातें in the method of, in the process of discussion, बहुत सारी चीजें याद रह जाती हैं, and that is how everything goes. So, satisfactory completion of training is based on achievement of all specific components, be it cooperative learning or peer tutoring or individual study. It doesn't matter. Ultimate thing is the child is able to understand the content. There must be mastery in conceptual understanding. This is more important. Now, what are the advantages of CBE? So as you see, flexible. Yes, it provides flexibility to the learners. Flexibility in the sense they can learn at their own speed, at their own pace. They will decide, like एक बड़ा chapter है and suppose किसी ने 5 दिन में खत्म कर लिया and this child he needs to make it in 10 to 12 days. वो अपना टाइम ले सकता है. अगर उस बीच में हमने वीकली टेस्ट या पीरियोडिक टेस्ट या कुछ भी टेस्ट रख लिए तो वो कैसे करेगा? ऑब्वियसली ही कैन नॉट परफॉर्म. And that is why CBE believes in continuous evaluation, continuous assessments, not in these periodic tests, weekly tests, half yearly tests, and annual examination, which are fixed, which are held in the fixed times. It's not like that. So there must be flexibility, and CBE provides that. Next is personalized learning. Can you tell me, friends, what is personalized learning? What do you mean by personalized learning? What is personalized learning? Students learn at the, yes, self-understanding. Yes, correct. To learn by oneself. Exactly. Personalized learning refers to, leveraging the needs and experience of the students. The students are able to understand their own needs and they are able to learn from their own experiences. And that they always want, isn't it? The students always want that they need to understand themselves. They need to understand their own needs, their own requirements in learning. Basically, I'm talking about. So here, yes, Shankar sir, the learner is given the liberty that he can go for personalized learning. Apne mutabak wo padhe, right? Yes, it includes self-study. It includes, understanding the needs, understanding the requirements, understanding his own knowledge and experience. Next is skill-based learning. Skill-based, obviously, we have discussed a lot of things about this skill-based learning. It is true, be it communication, collaboration, critical thinking, it focuses on the skills. And next is CBE is affordable. Of course, it is affordable because most of the data, most of the things, the contents, they are found online. In CBE, most of the contents are found online. In traditional pattern, kya hota hai? Like we have to go to the school to deliver the lecture, or the student has to come to the school regularly to deliver lecture. Content method available in the internet. Everything is available at one click, and thus it is affordable. So these are some more advantages, like participants will achieve competencies required in the performance of their jobs. That means the way that they are doing, executing the task, in the same way they will be assessed. They can achieve and they can enhance their competency also. When some task is given to them, they can enhance their competency in that way. So participants build confidence as they succeed in mastering specific competencies. So confidence is for sure. We cannot tell them nowadays. You see that, you know, the students who are academically great, right? They are 90-95% students. उन्हें कंटेंट तो पता है पर कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है. और कॉन्फिडेंस तो कोई चैप्टर नहीं है कि हम उनको बैठ के सिखा सकते हैं, राइट? एज पेरेंट्स और एज टीचर्स हम किसी को नहीं सिखा सकते कि हाउ टू डेवलप कॉन्फिडेंस. सो हाउ इट कैन बी डेवलप्ड? Ultimately, they have to be given the tasks, the activities, and so thus confidence can be developed, can be fostered. They can develop that on their own. And next is self-pacing, that participants can move quickly through material they know or take more time if they need. This is what we were talking, that learning at one's own pace. Participants or the individuals, they will learn accordingly. Means if they need more time or if they can do it with the stipulated period of time. It is their wish. It is their power to do it. Now, so friends, these are some benefits of competency-based learning, as you see. It allows students to work at own pace, as we discussed. It allows teacher to define clear goals, attainment, and completion. So here in competency-based learning or CBL, क्या होता है? The teacher and the student, both of them actually, they decide that what are the learning outcomes. कि यहाँ end में हमको क्या सीखना है. The teacher and the student, both of them, they decide that what is the objective, what is the goal, and during the completion, after the completion, what are the learning outcomes. Both of them they decide. तो इससे learning easy हो जाता है. Next is it allow teacher to sketch visible learning map. You know, what is this visible learning map? Most of the time what happens, most of the teachers, me included, we don't have a portfolio of the students, right? We don't have a record of the students. Portfolio in the sense we don't have any record. So in CBE, what happens? The learning map, the the trace, you know, the map of the student is traced. कि वो grow कैसे हो रहा है. The graph, it is traced. And it is passed on. Like 6th standard के teacher ने उसको pass किया, suppose 7th standard के teacher को. 7th standard के teacher ने उसको pass किया 8th standard के teacher को. When as he grows, the learning map is also passed. That means the learning map has been continuously tracked and traced by the teacher. इससे क्या होता है? जब वो 1 साल, 2 साल, 3 साल हो जाता है, वो खुद भी जान सकता है कि where I grow. The teacher knows, but the student also knows. Because कई बार what happens in this education system, that the child, learner, he passes 10th class, but he is unable to know कि उसने क्या सीखा. कैसे कैसे होके पढ़ के वो निकल गया और पता ही नहीं चला उसको. So this is the visible learning map, and the teacher and the student know what he has learned. The teacher knows what he has learned, the student knows what he has learned. Now, it allows teachers to use several modalities. Several modalities includes several instructional processes. Now, as we discussed, there are diverse learners, right? Diverse learners and their learning needs are different. किसी को देख के, I mean, if you show them a photo or a picture or some PPT or a video, वो वहां से देख के सीख सकते हैं. कोई ऐसा है बंदा कि वो आपको सुन के सीख सकता है, लेक्चर मेथड, कि आप बोलते जाओ और वो सुनते जाए और वो सीख सकता है. कई बंदे ऐसे हैं कि उनको यू नो रीड एंड राइट मेथड, रीड एंड राइट लर्नर्स आर देयर, कि आपने जो पढ़ाया वो उन्हें प्रैक्टिस करना जरूरी है. दे विल रीड एंड राइट लगातार, they will read and write, they will read and write, and this way they will practice. And then there are kinesthetic learners. Yes, kinesthetic learners are there. Yes, Minsa. That means they will do the task, right? Auditory learners, visual learners, we all know that. So we have to go for several modalities, several instructional methods while we are teaching. We have to go for that. इसीलिए तो time लग रहा है ना. इसीलिए ही टाइम लग रहा है. And then it allowed to use learning resources. Just a minute, I just skipped it. Yeah. It allowed to use learning resources anytime, anywhere. So as I was talking about online content, that the content is there online in the net. So here the learners can access the learning resources anytime, anywhere. Everything is digitalized in CBE. तो जो lecture भी पढ़ाया गया है, that is put in the net, so that the learner can access it as many number of times as he wants for better clarity and understanding. This also includes your allow better use of technology. This is the better use of technology. The learner uses these tools, these devices as many number of times as he wants. Next, allow students to demonstrate competency. Obviously, CBE is the process where the students learns to display competency. अगर कुछ नहीं भी आता तो भी वो एक दूसरे से देख कर भी सीख सकते हैं. And they will definitely, they will definitely display confidence, competency in that. And next is allow space for students' engagement and success. It gives them proper space also. कि हमको अपने पेस में लर्न करना है. कोई जल्दबाजी है. Now, the modes of downloadable mode. Now, in downloadable mode, as I was talking about, that all the content is available online. So, like students can access the assignments, digitalization, right? This is the era of technology. And here what happened, like हमने भी कहाँ सोचा था कि ऐसे बैठ के रूम में क्लास लेंगे. किसने कहाँ सोचा था? But yes, everything has become, digitalized. We teachers also have to become tech savvy. So in this downloadable mode, what happens is all the lessons, the notes, the sessions, the lectures, everything is there online. So students can download it and they can keep it, they can preserve it. And that is why I said it is affordable. When we were talking about that characteristic, that CBE is affordable, this is the reason. Next is read-only mode. Read-only mode में क्या होता है? You can read the course, read the data, the concepts as many times as you need to. Okay, you can read it. Downloading is not available. Downloading the data or interaction, that means messages and all, that is not available. You can read the content as many number of times, like you read it and you prepare your own notes. That is affordable too. Next is classroom interaction. According to me, this is more important, because अब जितना भी online पढ़ो, लिखो, you submit the scripts online, you download the content, कितना कुछ भी कर लो, interaction is must. Don't you think so? जब वो communicate ही नहीं होगा, जब वो knowledge communicate ही नहीं होगा, जब वो knowledge pass on ही नहीं होगा, तो इतना सारा notes का हम करेंगे क्या? Yes, exchange of views, right? Exchange of content, that is important. So classroom interaction may again, this provides an environment for students to talk and discuss freely about any related topics online. पढ़ लिया, डाउनलोड कर लिया, स्क्रिप्ट्स ऑनलाइन सबमिट कर लिया, सब सही है, but classroom interaction is important. And interaction can be both virtual or in physical mode. Again, it depends. So these are the modes of CBE. Next, coming to CBE versus traditional classrooms, जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं, traditional education. CBE is skill based, क्योंकि हमने skills सारे discuss किए, communication, collaboration, creative thinking, critical thinking, ये सारे skill based हैं. Traditional education is based on contact hour. That means 9 to 5 job. You go to school at 9 o'clock, the students come at school, 5 o'clock, teaching is over, done for the day, right? And next is CBE is like coaching, means the teacher is the coach here. The teacher is the problem solver. The teacher is not like an instructor. In traditional education, what happens? In traditional method, the teacher simply used to give instructions that पहले आपको ये करना है, step 2 आपको वो करना है, step 3 आपको फिर ये करना है. The teacher is simply a mere instructor there. But here the teacher is the coach. The teacher also does the work wherever required with the students. Next is CBE made is self-paced and online. The materials are there online. And traditional education में seat time. That means जो पढ़ा 9 to 5 में पढ़ा, 5 बजे के बाद भूल गए, कोई बात नहीं, कुछ नहीं हो सकता, right? But in online, when it is self-paced or online learning, what happens is बार बार आपको content देखो, देखते जाओ जब तक समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. Download it, read it, do it as many number of times as you want to. Next is, that's the reason, that's the reason CBE is less expensive, because all the data is available online and traditional education is more expensive. Obviously, going to school, coming from school, books, buying books and all and other details, project, it is expensive. Tuition fees of the school, of course it is expensive. Next is, in CBE method, students finish as they are able to. Means that flexibility is given to them, that they can have their own time. But in traditional education, what happens? Evaluation is at the end of term. But in CBE method, जब उनका खत्म हुआ, तब evaluation होगा. The student should be ready, content-wise. But in traditional method, okay, month of July or month of September, there should be term 1, right? Month of December, there should be periodic test. Month of February, annual exam must. यही होता है traditional education में, जैसे कि हम लोग बड़े हुए हैं. So, moving further. So friends, हम लोग ने अभी तक जो भी डिस्कस किया है अभी तक, this is all mentioned in this graph, as you can see it. The structure, culture, teaching, learning. This is CBE mastery framework. The assessment system, इसके बारे में हमने बात नहीं की है, हम करेंगे. Seat time that we were discussing. Learning management system, scheduling, professional development of the teachers, that is important. Physical infrastructure is important. Culture में institutional mission. And what is the mission? Success for all. CBE believes in success for all. That's the institutional mission. CBE does not believe in completion of course or syllabus, right? Success for all, which includes teachers and students as well. Knowledgeable staff चाहिए उसके लिए, of course. Culture of innovation, creativity, engaged parents and families, वो भी बहुत जरूरी है. Now, when we are talking about engaging the child throughout, the parents should also be engaged. मतलब, we have to have an interaction with the parents in the regular form कि बच्चे को घर में कैसे रहना चाहिए, बच्चे को घर में कैसे engage करना चाहिए, क्योंकि सारा का सारा तो हम as teachers नहीं कर पाएंगे, right? Without parent support, it is not going to happen. So engage stakeholders. That means we, teachers, we are engaged because we are the coach. And we have to do the work with the learners. Effective communication takes or plays a role. Culture of relevance, culture of purpose. And purpose is success. Success for all, not just a few. Then comes to teaching methodology. That is, yes, teachers as facilitators and coaches, जो कि हमें करना ही है और हम कर भी रहे हैं. Personalized learning को हमको improve करना पड़ेगा. Yes. Tools and resources for teaching. जो भी हमको teaching aids चाहिए, वो हमें collect करने ही होंगे for the students. Then comes content expertise. Of course, no doubt in it. As experienced teachers, we have that expertise over our content. Curriculum design. This is very important because when we talk of curriculum, it should be learner centric, right? Learner centric, and of course, taking the age into mind. If the age of the learner is not taken into consideration, then the curriculum cannot be fruitful. And finally, assessment design and use, जिसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे अभी. Next is learning method. That is, it depends solely upon the learners. Student ownership of learning, कि वो किस तरह से time and pace ले रहा है. Student voice is important. Means the student should have the voice and choice to execute himself, to demonstrate his skills. Lead learner. So here, as I was telling that yes, the student-centric classroom, student-centered approach, the learner takes an active role, is the lead player here. So learning anytime, anywhere, because all the content is available online. Now, what is the purpose of the school? So here, friends, let me just summarize what is the purpose of the school. It is to see that CBE or CBL, competency based learning, it actually provides the skills. It facilitates the students in demonstrating the skills which are needed in their life, in their career. That is more important. Because कई बार हम देखते हैं बच्चे स्कूल से निकल जाते हैं, कॉलेज से निकल जाते हैं, बट जो important skills होनी चाहिए, like decision making power, right, like team working in a team, collaboration, ये सारे skills नहीं होते हैं उनमें. Correct. So we have to see that these skills, they present these skills, they learn these skills after the school even. जब तक वो school छोड़े ये सारे skills हो जाना चाहिए. I don't know why it is. I think it is clear. So next, okay. So next, coming to CBL or competency based learning, it provides an environment of agency, equity, transfer. Okay, what is agency? Students have the voice and choice in doing what they want to do, how to do it, what they need to learn. They have their own opinion, they have their own voice and choice in selecting the mode of learning. Next is equity. And now when I say, friends, equity, I am talking here about the equitable educational system. And what is equitable educational system? That is, no student should fall in the trap of a superior student or a struggling student. Everybody should be benefited. क्योंकि हमारा टारगेट तो वो 90% ही नहीं है ना, क्योंकि हमें तो साइंटिस्ट एंड इंजीनियर्स ही नहीं बनाने हैं. We have to create holistic individuals, right? And for holistic individuals, we have to go for equitable educational system. That is important. And next is transfer. What is on theology? Suppose when we are teaching students about light as an energy, right? Light as an energy, we are teaching everything, right? But वो बंदा जब घर आता है और वो एक बल्ब भी चेंज नहीं कर पाता, then what you will do? But he knows every out of the concept of light energy. Understood? Somebody who is in 9th and 10th has to be able to change the bulb, be it a boy or girl, it doesn't matter. He or she should be. What is the importance or necessity of discussing and learning light in the school? So transfer of this theoretical knowledge into application is important. The learning experiences are important. Now, so these are some variety of competency based assessments. As you see, formative assessments, like formative assessments means these support competency based education by making sure teachers understand student needs, and so they can modify instruction in real time and provide timely feedback. You know, formative assessments, we are doing it. What we are doing, why we are doing formative assessments? We understand students needs कि बच्चे ने समझा कि नहीं, and for that we are doing timely assessments, right? We are modifying the instructions and we are getting to know that yes, the student has understood the concept completely or not. Then comes digital portfolios. This could be one type of assessment. Like what happens here? The student, he will do the project work. For example, he is doing some project work and he is used in the project, and that project he could circulate, isn't it? And sort of evaluation on कौन से image, कौन से videos, yes, exhibition, that is what Yasmin saw. So how much image, he is putting it in that project, that is called digital portfolio, which could be shared online with the peers. So assessment भी हो सकता है. Next come to summative assessments. Obviously, summative assessments, that means students, a student's competency or skill can be judged. Like students can be evaluated after instruction and work completed. Not necessarily at the end of the term. In the month of February, it is not at all necessary. Their skill, you can judge their competency on a particular subject. These assessments are helpful. कोई जरूरी नहीं कि आपने जुलाई में जो पढ़ा है उसको फरवरी में उसी को टेस्ट लेना है. Now, what is the requirements? When students are doing an experiment, for example, they are doing some experiment, or you can also do this experiment. Like if you have children at home, give them 200 rupees for this weekend, okay, and let them manage the house. Just give them 200 rupees or 500 rupees for the weekend and let them manage the house. This is authentic assessment. वो कर पा रहा है या नहीं आप जान सकते हैं. It's just a matter of 200 or 500 rupees. So authentic assessments includes, real life situations like conducting experiments or designing something, making something, real life experiences. Such assessments are helpful. Next, coming to technology enhanced assessments, the project that I was talking about, that the students, they are free, they should be free to create, innovate, and share. They will create their own project, they will create their own film, there will be their own direction, the direction will be given by them only, and they can share that project. This is technology enhanced or digitalized assessment, what we can say. So friends, these are the benefits of competency based assessment. जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं, इससे क्या होगा? And one more thing I want to tell you, be it formative or be it summative assessments, it doesn't matter. The point is improved clarity and transparency. When you give such kind of assessments and in a regular process, the child is benefited. It improves conceptual clarity and there is transparency in the assessment or evaluation system. तो एटलीस्ट वो बंदा बिलीव करेगा इन द इवैल्यूएशन सिस्टम कि सब कुछ सही सही हो रहा है, सही जा रहा है. And second is more seamless personalization of learning, because already the pace and time is given to the students. So students, as and when they complete their own learning, assessments are taken. So it is more personalized. Third is helps shift towards a culture of assessment. That means now assessment does not mean marks or grades. Assessment means capability, ability to do something. Right? Yes, sir. We are talking about quality students, of course. And next is students better understand their own learning profile. जैसे कि हम discuss कर रहे थे. The profile, the portfolio of the students, it will be with everybody, right? With the teachers, with the parents, with the child himself. ताकि वो बच्चा वो खुद को ट्रैक कर सके कि ओके मैं 6th स्टैंडर्ड में यहाँ था, 7th में यहाँ पहुंचा, 8th में यहाँ तक मेरा असेसमेंट जा रहा है, मतलब मैं कहाँ ग्रो हो रहा हूँ, कहाँ पे नहीं हो रहा हूँ, उस पे वो काम करेगा. Yes, it's about self-assessment that I'm talking about. Next, finally, I would say, friends, this 21st century world, it is known as the VUCA world. You know what is VUCA world? Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. Okay, it is a volatile world. with lots of complexities and uncertainties in life. ऐसा हम क्यों बोलते हैं? Because we witness rapid change in personal and professional life. This is the thing. आज जो हमें solution लग रहा है, कल को वो solution है ही नहीं, क्योंकि कल को कोई दूसरा ही problem होगा और परसों को कोई तीसरा ही problem होगा, right? So solution differs. The only thing constant is change, and that's the reason 21st century world is known as the VUCA world, where there is complexity and ambiguity. So competency based learning prepares 21st century students to face the upcoming challenges, applying specific skills suitable to the time and space. So when we are talking about competency based education or learning, it actually prepares holistic individuals. मतलब पूरा का पूरा, physical, social, psychological, emotional, cognitive, all the traits should be developed. Then only he can meet the change of the world. He can navigate the challenges of the world. So this is all. Thank you. If you have any questions or you want to share something, the platform is all yours. Thank you, everyone. Okay, thank you, everyone. Any questions, you are welcome. Or anything to share, you are welcome. Okay, I don't see any questions. So thank you so much, friends. Thank you so much. It's really been energetic and I have been reading your messages throughout. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to the team for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir. And thank you to the team.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for this very good session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you all.
चंदन जी, चंदन जी,
जी हाँ सर, बोला जाए।
रिकॉर्डिंग ऑफ कर दीजिए।
ठीक सर, रिकॉर्डिंग
रिकॉर्डिंग ऑफ कर दीजिए चंदन जी।
क्या चीज को सर?